You're introduced to yourself. And at first you don't recognize it because we're so conditioned to this. You know, we're so conditioned to all of this that this is what feels real. Logically, we know we have a soul. When we meditate, we get into that space, but we are still totally conscious of the fact that we are in a physical form. There, in fifth density, my experience has been, you don't even think about the physical form at all. Okay? You're moving, your physical form is trying to catch up to you. It's absolutely amazing. What's also amazing is that if you close your eyes, you can see 360 degrees around you. Okay? You know exactly what's going on everywhere. I could feel everyone that was around me. I could feel their emotions. I could feel them look at me. I could feel them think about my appearance, what I represented, how I was standing, all of those things. I didn't always hear the telepathic communication because a lot of it wasn't directed specifically at me. When it is, you hear it. And it's like we're speaking now, and you know that it's coming from someone because they're looking directly at you. Except their mouth isn't moving, but you're having the dialogue. And for those of you who are mediums or channels, you know exactly what that's like. Okay? We will be moving into all those spaces. All right? We will be, and we need the mentorship so that we don't freak out and flip out, so that we can truly understand how to embrace our essential selves, what it's all about. The whole purpose of going through all of this stuff for humanity, all the thousands of years of tests, trials, tribulations, previous pole shifts, all of that was to take ourselves through this exercise, to move from third through fourth and eventually into fifth density. That's what this has all been about. It's all been a school. Okay? And we all volunteered. None of you were taken from a ship, thrown out the window and said, make it, figure it out. It's not how it happens. You know, and I wish it were, because then we'd have some other excuses. Okay? But we don't. That's what this is about. More and more people, probably many of you in this room, are going to begin to have contact. It's happening. It's going to happen all over the world. Okay? It's going to be picked up exponentially. Many of the races who have been here studying us, and I would suggest that you research the work of Colonel Wendell Stevens, because he's the foremost authority on contactees around the world. His books are available. There have been many, many races here studying us. They know us better than we know ourselves. And many of them are stepping forward and are going to be stepping forward to say, okay, we are going to participate in this process to help move us along because they understand us. They've been here around us, amongst us. They've observed us. They know the challenges we have. Okay, many of those specific races have been in exactly the same place as we are now. And they knew how to get through the hurdles, and they knew how to get through the traps, or to avoid the traps that apparently we may be stumbling into here. Okay? Again, I know many of you in this room, if not all of you, have devoted an amazing amount of time into developing yourselves, into finding your balance, to finding your strength, to finding out who you are, what you are, and to find out exactly where you are so that you know where you stand. Okay? Bravo. You deserve every accolade there is. The next step for you, now that you've been there, is to help create the world. What is it that we want the world to look like? Okay? It's us. We have to do this. No one else is going to do this for us. Has to be a grassroots level. All it takes is conversation, discussion. You know, if you put out the intention, I need to know about this information, and you put it out and you keep putting it out, even if it's just for 10 seconds a day, you will draw that information, that knowledge to you. The right people will come to you. The opportunities will come to you. You have to trust that. I'm learning to trust that. Because I'm a guy, I still overanalyze everything. Okay? But my wife is kicking my ass in that direction and making sure I get that. And I love you for it. Okay? This is all about us. We have drawn this entire experience to ourselves, so we need to own it. And the faster we own it, the more empowered we will become about the process. The more it'll make sense to us, the more intelligent we can discuss it. And as this process begins, people around you you'll find yourself in a position of leadership. Okay? You will find yourself being the teachers. There was a great line in Sterling Allen's presentation, quote, where he said, if you're one step ahead of the world, you're a genius. If you're 2 steps ahead, you're a crackpot. Okay? It was a great line. So I borrowed it. We've all been crackpots. Okay? Soon we're going to be geniuses. But that's when the real work begins. Okay, and the idea is to try to get everybody else up to speed. Do what you can. Just do what you can. Don't overextend yourself to the point where you can't keep yourself centered and balanced. You have to keep yourself centered and balanced. Okay? It's not necessary for you to save the world or to want to save the world. If you become the example, it will reflect and other people will get it around you. And the tide is definitely changing. The frequency is changing. Again, I want to put this out there one more time. If you had 2 years left to live on earth, what would you do with your life? What would you do? Just think about that. What would you do? What would you do differently? If you wouldn't do anything, bravo, you're there. But if you would do something differently, what would you do? What would make you happy? Okay? My wife has a great expression. We're all sitting on the G waiting for the O. Okay? Okay? My wife, Audra, has a great saying, and it's we're all sitting on the G waiting for the O. Ladies and gentlemen, you are my brothers and my sisters. I love you. I am honored by you. I want you to know that I have done the very best I could to represent us. I've had my stuff to deal with as well. I have my own challenges to deal with as well. Okay? But ultimately, in the end, I have absolute faith in us. The world is not going to end, but it is going to change, and it has to. And it's going to change for the better, but we need to be the driving force of that change. Humanity has to be the driving force of that change, not government. Okay? Do not ever, ever surrender your freedoms or liberties to government. It's too self-serving, and it doesn't create anything but laws that restrict our freedoms. You know, you can't possibly need any more